Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about central nervous system. So let's start the topic with introduction. Central nervous system is the most crucial part of human body responsible for controlling every function from basic physiological process to complex thoughts and emotions. It consists of brain and spinal cord which process sensory information, initiate movement, regulate involuntary functions and enable cognitive abilities such as learning, memory and reasoning. Without the central nervous system, communication between different body systems would be impossible, thus make it primary command center of the body. Now let's talk about functions of central nervous system. Central nervous system is structurally divided into two key components. The first is brain and the second is spinal cord. Talking about brain is the most complex organ composed of billions of neurons that control voluntary and involuntary actions. It is divided into several major regions. These include cerebrum, cerebellum, and brainstem. Brainstem is further divided into midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. Now let's talk about them one by one. First, we have cerebrum, that is a part of brain. Obviously, cerebrum is the largest and most developed part of brain, governing higher order functions such as reasoning, problem solving, emotions, and voluntary movements. It is divided into two hemispheres that are right hemisphere and left hemisphere, which are connected by corpus callosum, a bundle of nerve fiber that facilitate communication between the two sides. Each hemisphere is divided into four lobes that we are talking about cerebral hemisphere or hemispheres of cerebrum. And these lobes are frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, and temporal lobe. Frontal lobe is responsible for decision making, problem solving, speech, and voluntary movements, while parietal lobe is for process sensory information, spatial awareness, and coordination, and occipital bone control visual processing and interpretation of images, and temporal bone manage auditory perception, language processing, and memory formation. Now let's talk about the cerebellum that is located between the cerebrum. The cerebellum regulates balance, coordination, fine movements, and posture. Despite its smaller size, it plays a vital role in ensuring smooth and precise movements. Now let's talk about brainstem. Brainstem connects the brain to the spinal cord and controls basic life functions such as breathing, heart rate, digestion, and reflexes. It consists of three parts. They include midbrain that control eye movement, auditory processing, and reflex responses. Pons that relay signals between the cerebrum and cerebellum, which while also regulating breathing, and medulla oblongata that governs autonomic functions such as heartbeat, blood pressure, and swallowing. Now let's talk about spinal cord that is also part of the central nervous system. As we earlier said, the central nervous system is composed of two parts, brain and spinal cord. We talked about brain and now we are going to talk about spinal cord. Spinal cord is a cylindrical structure expanding from the brainstem down through the vertebral column. It serves as a primary communication pathway between the brain and rest of the body. It consists of 31 pairs of spinal nerve which branch out to different parts of the body. Spinal cord is divided into five sections. These sections are cervical region that is from C1 to C8, thoracic region that is from T1 to T12, lumbar region that is from L1 to L5, sacral region that is from S1 to S5, and coccygeal region that is coccygeal 1. Cervical region controls movement of the neck, shoulder, arms, and diaphragm, while thoracic region regulates functions of chest and abdomen. Lumbar region is responsible for lower limb movements and sacral region controls bladder, bowel and sexual function. And coccygeal region is the smallest segment involved in minor sensory functions. Additionally, the spinal cord plays a key role in reflexation by passing the brain for immediate responses to stimuli through the spinal reflex arc. Central nervous system governs a vast range of physiological and psychological processes that include it processes sensory information as it receives input from sensory organ and interprets stimuli like pain, temperature, sound, and light. It also regulates motor function as it initiates and coordinates voluntary and involuntary muscle movement. and it also helps in cognitive processing as it facilitates learning, memory, reasoning, and problem solving. It helps in regulating homeostasis as it maintains stable internal conditions by controlling processes such as body temperature, heart rate, and hormone secretion. And it also helps in emotional and psychological regulation as it processes emotions, motivations, and social behavior. Now let's talk about protective mechanism central nervous system. Central nervous system is vulnerable to injuries and external forces, but several protective mechanisms are there that safeguard its delicate structures. These include skull and vertebral column. As a skull encases the brain, providing a rigid protective layer, while the vertebral column surrounds the spinal cord, shielding it from damage. Further talking about protective mechanism of central nervous system, we have meninges. There are three layers of protective membrane surrounding the brain and spinal cord. These include dura mater, that is the tough outermost layer, arachnoid mater, that is the middle layer with web-like structure providing cushioning, and pia mater, that is a thin innermost layer closely adhered to the brain and spinal cord. And it also has in protective mechanism cerebrospinal fluid or CSF. CSF is clear watery fluid that circulates around the brain and spinal cord, serving multiple functions. It provides cushioning against impacts and remove metabolic waste and maintain chemical balance within the central nervous system. Further, we also have blood-brain barrier in the protective mechanism of central nervous system, that is also called as BBB. And this BBB or blood-brain barrier is highly selective membrane that prevents harmful substances from entering the brain while allowing essential nutrients to pass through. Now let's talk about the related disorders of central nervous system. Several medical conditions impact central nervous system function. These include neurodegenerative diseases, that are the conditions that involve gradual nerve cell deterioration, and they include Alzheimer's disease that cause progressive memory loss and cognitive decline. Parkinson's disease then involves dopamine deficiency leading to tremors and motor dysfunction, and multiple sclerosis, that is autoimmune disorder that damage the myelin sheath of neurons, impairing nerve signal transmission. It also has neurological injuries. Neurological injuries affect central nervous system and can have long-term consequences, and they may include stroke, that is sudden interruption of blood flow to the brain resulting in brain cell damage, traumatic brain injury, that is damage caused by external impact affecting cognitive and motor function, and spinal cord injury that leads to partial or complete loss of sensory or motor function below the injury site. Then it may also have CNS infection, as certain infection can severely impact central nervous system function. And then these infections may include meningitis, that is inflammation of meninges due to bacterial or viral infection, encephalitis, that is brain inflammation caused by viral infection, and poliomyelitis, that is viral disease that damage motor neurons in the spinal cord. Further talking about related disorder, it may get CNS tumor, that a brain and spinal cord tumors can be benign or malignant, affecting cognitive motor function. Now let's talk about the conclusion of this lecture video. Central nervous system is control center of the body responsible for sensory perception, movement, cognitive function, and autonomic regulation. It processes vast amounts of information every second, ensuring proper communication between different body systems. And because of its complexity, understanding its anatomy and function is essential for diagnosing and treating neurological disorders. And this was all about central nervous system. Hopefully, you liked the video despite of all the issues. But thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment.